Friends, we're live. Tuesday evening, 7:46. Rusty with you here. CFLW live on this Tuesday evening, tracking a couple of storms for you here that have gone severe. So just wanted to jump on and cover this for you guys. If you live in Central Florida, you know, the opportunity that we're going to have a little bit of a rowdy storm here or there for the remainder of more than likely the next 45 minutes or so. I think as we hit sunset, these are going to be dying down. The one severe thunderstorm warning that we have is going to be right over the Oviedo, Winter Springs area right now, but it's pulsed up pretty quickly, right? We had a couple of storms that developed along the East Coast, and then we've had just this little march of westerly storms that have really fired up near the I-4 corridor. Again, the one that's currently into play right now is going to go right until 8 o'clock. Winds of 60 miles an hour and some nickel-sized hail here, the 0.88 inches. Let me give you the update from the National Weather Service out of Melbourne. It's for Cibolo, South Central Volusia counties. Again, the nickel-sized hail here, Lake Harney, Chuliota, Osteen, Geneva, Longwood, all areas that could be included within this severe thunderstorm. And again, the lightning count is up pretty high right now, especially over the 417 Oviedo area right now as you cross Lake Jessup up towards the Sanford area, kind of south sides of Sanford, spreading east towards Chuliota. So again, this puppy is going to continue to work its way off to the north and to the east, but relatively slow at around 15 miles an hour. Additional non-severe storms are beginning to develop west of there, Mount Plymouth back towards Lake Apopka, Mount Montverde on over towards Oakland, kind of right across 27. Get towards the Western Beltway and the 429. Additional storms are a little bit stronger south of Haines City. We've also had some storms earlier in the day up in Palm Coast. But again, heart of Metro Orlando, a little bit of some nasty weather at this point in time. Appreciate you guys tuning in. While you do so, thank you so much for clicking that like button. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't as of yet as well. Let's take a look at some of the cameras. I want to show you our winter garden camera. Those are some of the showers that are developing here as we approach sunset on this Tuesday. Again, this is the live look here from CFLW on the western side of Orange County. You can see the darker clouds. You can see some of that rain moving across, and yes, a little bit of a glint of orange in the sky as well, but a beautiful shot from our winter garden camera. As always, friends, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state, homeowners, condo owners, and associations. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. Anything that can impact you or your property, they're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They are the sponsor of the channel. You see their logo at the bottom of your screen. We appreciate them supporting us. You can go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. So again, live with you guys here. You can see the clock ticking in the top left-hand side of your screen. 7:49 on this Tuesday. One lone severe thunderstorm warning, but it is kind of a beefier one as well. Got a couple of cameras to look at. Not only do we have the winter garden camera, this is a live look to just to the south and east of downtown Orlando. This is Lake Conway. It's really interesting, just really still out there. It almost looks like this shot is frozen, but I promise you it is live. There's barely a breath of wind outside of where these showers and storms are developing. That is one reason why that the storms are such slow movers right now. There's a bit of a progression off towards the east, but that would be about it. And then our camera from the Disney area right now. And again, we're dry in Lake Buena Vista. We're looking back towards the Disney property, just a mile away from the Magic Kingdom. Again, clouds kind of building in, but at this point in time, in the southwest sides of Orange, we are still dry. Again, back to our winter garden camera. This is a gorgeous shot. You can see the rain curtains there with that, again, non-severe storm, but I can tell you before I came on, a little bit of lightning out of this as well. So, you know, from time to time from this shot, we might actually catch a stroke of lightning here or there. Obviously, if you live in Orange County, just make sure you stay weather aware for a while here, especially on the northeast side of Orange County and then into Seminole and the southern sides of Volusia County as well. But you can see that rain curtain, that rain streak there with that low base, some showers moving across the Lake Apopka area here. So places like Claremont and Oakland getting wet right now. And then that's going to move into Winter Garden and Ocoee as they try and march off towards the east. Back to the live radar. Bring myself back on camera. Let's get into this storm just a little bit more for you now. So 60-mile-an-hour winds, nickel-sized hail. Look, you know, the nickel-sized hail gets you to that threshold of potential damage, just depending on if they can kind of creep up towards that inch size, right? We kind of transition from that nickel to quarter. It's really close. You know, again, if you have an opportunity to get the car inside and these storms have yet to arrive, do so. Get out while it's coming down because the lightning is rather serious right now. Let's take a look at the storm track here. I'm going to take our radar control and bring that up. I'm going to switch on over to what we call storm cell tracking mode. And that will allow us to do times of arrival and all of this as well. So again, the storm looks like this. The weather computer thinks it's going northeast at around 12. Weather Service has it at 15, so that's all on track. Hail up to an inch in size, no rotation. So at this point in time, we're not concerned about any actual tornadic activity out of this. And again, this thing continues to work its way up to the north and to the east. At this point in time, right, you know, it's already through Oviedo as far as like the heaviest stuff, so we're not tracking that, but I do have it crossing 46 in about 25 minutes. Again, a really slow mover. So the other big story is the amount of rain that'll be falling in these areas. Chulliota, Oviedo, Winter Springs, of course the 417, this is right over the Lake Jessup area to the southern sides of Sanford. Right now you get south of 46 and to the south and west of 46 is where we have this activity. And again, I got that one with the green triangle, which does indicate hail. All right, so moving northeast there. Good to see you guys. How you doing, Garrett? Just got off the golf course, had a beautiful day in North Carolina. Jealous. We've had a exceptionally hot day in Central Florida. If you guys joined me for yesterday's show, we talked about that the 90s would be returning, and they did so. So look, a lot of juice in the atmosphere here, guys, right? The opportunity here to see some pretty, pumped up storms because of that. Winds, again, outside of where these are developing are not that strong. We've got one wind gust in Leesburg of 26 miles an hour, but even right now, we're heading towards 8 o'clock. We still have 88 degrees in downtown Orlando and at the airport. We still have 90 degrees through portions of Polk County towards Lakeland and Haines City right now. Still the lower 80s down towards Tampa. It's been a little bit cooler with some rain trying to develop in Flagler and portions of Volusia County, 75 in Daytona Beach. But the atmosphere is absolutely juiced right now where these storms are flowing into. And again, I mentioned it in yesterday's show. If we were going to get anything yesterday, and by the way, we had some nasty storms along our East Coast just before sunset yesterday as well, that they would be a little bit more isolated in nature, but they've really pulsed up. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Seminole and Volusia counties goes until 8 o'clock, 60-mile-an-hour winds and some nickel-sized hail. How you doing, Farah? Farah says, Ormond by the Sea looking great. Just a few sprinkles a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, and, when the 8 o'clock numbers come in, Garrett, they'll be lower than that. Those are, of course, we get these METAR reports. So this is going to be your, 7 or 7:30 now. The other thing, too, is that there will be intermediate observations if there are necessary reasons. So the executive airport had an intermediate ob at 7:30 that still showed 88 degrees. So yes, just 24 minutes ago it was still 88. MCO was 88 for their 7 o'clock advisory. The next storm that could try and get a little squirrely, and we'll just see, is the one that's over Mount Plymouth right now, right over 46. Again, if you're trying to drive 46 right now, I wish you the best in the wars to come. 46 does this up to Sanford and then cuts over towards Mount Plymouth and Mount Dora. And it's that entire corridor right now is what's getting hammered. But Lake Jessup, now look, I don't think the gators mind. For those who don't know, pretty much Lake Jessup is covered in gators. It's unbelievable if you ever drive the 417 over Lake Jessup. All you see at night is just eyes looking at you. But there is more than likely some hail being produced out of this. Let's take a look at our estimated hail size. We have a little bit there, maybe, not a ton. Check out our velocity. Not anything tight. Again, if you joined me for the last live stream, we had, really strong couplets, tight rotation, over 100-mile-an-hour couplet there in rural Orange and Osceola counties. Not that situation today. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm jumped on because we have this severe thunderstorm warning. Wanted to cover it, guys, for you live. Sanford, Lake Mary, Winter Springs, Oviedo, Chulliota. This will push off towards the north and east over 46. Now, this is going to expire at 8 o'clock, so in just the next 5 minutes, and then we'll have to kind of wait and see what else happens from there. Additional storms are kind of lining up. If I bring on the surface winds of this plot here, let me pull these up for you guys. Again, it's not sea breeze season as of yet, but we've talked about how diffuse sea breezes have been able to still help to initiate a couple of storms. And you can clearly see if you look at these arrows, you've got the diffuse East Coast sea breeze, which has been able to march towards I-4, and you have the diffuse East Coast sea breeze, which has initiated a few of these storms. And it's been fairly juiced up with, temperatures again in the upper 80s, even right around 90 degrees in a lot of spots. This is pretty typical for the 1st of April, no doubt about it. Hi, Blue Goose. Good evening to you, my friend. 73, humid with some scattered darkness and a pinch of rain up in St. Augustine. Appreciate you commenting. Thank you, Farrah. Thank you, Blue Goose. Thank you, Garrett, for jumping in the chat. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys. This is why I do this live. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. If you just want to say hi, of course, while you're down there, thank you for supporting the channel, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button as well. All of that really helps the channel out more than you guys think. Again, we have our live cameras. I feel like we should continue to take a look at those because they're just so darn nice. So let's go back to Winter Garden. There you go. Gorgeous shot. So behind the showers that are developing in East Lake and the western sides of Orange County, we've got a beautiful sunset for you there. Again, this camera is looking west. We had a little bit of lightning and we had a nice little rain shaft with that lowering down there right here. You can see some of that right there, but it's pushing off towards the east. That shower looks like it's trying to fall apart. Now, that's the interesting thing in this environment. Not all of this activity is going to pulse up and be extreme. Some of it will develop very quickly, rain itself out, never become severe, never produce any thunder or lightning, but just be a good shower. And that's what looks like is happening exactly with this storm here that's trying to push just south of Lake Apopka. Gonna get a quick swig of my Publix Diet Green Tea. It's my fave. But again, beautiful shot there. Let's see what's going on again with Lake Conway. So we're looking north and east. We are catching the southern extent of that severe thunderstorm, right? That's kind of that. You can see the lightning right there, right? The lightning in that left-hand side of your screen, that is from that severe storm. Now, it's pushing away from the camera, but we're still able to see that. I'm going to talk to the property owner. Maybe we can get them to cut down that palm tree. Get ourselves a beautiful shot. We clear both of these palm trees out. We got ourselves a nice 100-degree shot there, or 180-degree shot of the eastern side of Orange County. And again, for the attractions at this point in time, I would expect things to be okay, but I've got to watch some of the showers that are developing across 27 in Lake County as well. So out of the corner of my eye, I did see that the Weather Service has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to continue with this one. So this is just a continuation of the current severe thunderstorm warning. Notice that their movement is now farther north. And actually, that's not good news because now that puts more of major metropolitan areas of Seminole County into play, like Lake Mary, like Sanford, and then into Volusia County, places like Deltona, Orange City, close to DeBary as well. So all of these areas are now going to be in our new polygon for our severe thunderstorm warning. Let's be clear. We hit 8 o'clock. We are right around sunset right now. I don't see much in the way of, our cameras, obviously, the irises can allow for more light to be filtered in. So we get a little bit, it's just like when you watch golf and they're right towards the end of the day where, it's not nearly as light outside than what the golfers are playing, what you see on TV. Same thing with our cameras. The exposure is pretty high. We can bring in more light and make it look a little bit clearer near sunset. That's exactly what's happening right now, but it's almost dark outside right now. Kevin, how you doing? Good evening from Lakeland. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it. Here in the foothills mountains in a little town called Morganton. Well, as I mentioned it several times, big fan of North Carolina. We spent a lot of time just less than 2 weeks ago for our spring break up there. Love that area. So now we have our new severe thunderstorm warning. So let's track this. So this is going to be, and I'm going to do it this way actually. We're going to track it from where it is right now and moving north. Let's get the details first, and then we'll do a storm track. So let me click on this. Again, I can pull up the Weather Service bulletin right up here. So Seminole, South Central Volusia till 8:30, right over Sanford, moving northeast at 20, 60s and quarters. And this is the problem. I mentioned this. I said we were at nickel sides. I was concerned about getting to quarters. You get to quarters, that can cause some damage to cars. That can cause some damage to property if things are left outside. If you live on the north side of Sanford, if you live in Deltona, DeBary, Orange City, and you have an opportunity to get your car underneath some kind of covering, and you can do it without being a crazy person, meaning that you're literally just putting it into the garage, I would suggest that. You just, you don't want to fool around with things, right? Because this kind of storm can produce damaging hail. Quarters can put some dings in cars, especially if it's coming down hard and heavy. And this storm has intensified. You guys, you notice that we have these fuchsia and blue colors. That is very high reflectivity. And again, it's right over Lake Jessup. It really hasn't moved. If anything, it's kind of congregated a little bit to the north. And that again is putting Sanford into play. This is the airport right here, the 82-degree mark that we see. I'll switch over to wind gusts, and we'll keep an eye out on that as well to see if we pick up any additional wind. But again, 60 and quarter sized hail with that one. Expect wind damage to roof siding and trees. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, okay? So again, Weather Service, talking my language. Severe thunderstorm warning now until 8:30 there. If we take a look at the summary, again, my computer has it going northeast at 17, but the last look of this, it was at a 56 degrees on the compass. Now it's 25. It's a lot more north than it is east at this point in time, okay? Radar indicated hail threat up to an inch. Radar indicated wind up to 60 miles an hour, like Harney, Osteen, Orange City, Farmington, Geneva. But again, those are areas down the road. Right now, Lake Mary, Winter Springs, northern sides of Oviedo, southern sides of Sanford, those are the areas that are getting hammered. And I promise you this, you don't want to be on the 417 right now. That is either blinding rain, and I mean blinding rain, or there's some hail that's being ingested within this storm. Big time updraft associated with that particular cell at this point in time. And look, we could exaggerate. I can 3D slice and stuff like that, and I've been playing around with things like that, and I'll bring that to the equation from time to time as well. Again, a lot of things that I can do. What I want to do right now, though, is let's get this storm track on here. So I'm going to manually track this for you guys because I'm going to do a big ribbon here. And again, beginning of the season, so let's see if I can do this correctly. I shouldn't have to go too far out. So where to go? Oh, it stopped dragging. All right. Let's clear it and try it again. Probably also if I move it up just a little bit better. All right. So I'm dragging. No. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's good enough. That's fine. Okay, perfect. I'm done. Now, yes, I would like to go north. We said, oh, there we go. 15. Can we get to 15? 14 is close enough. All right, let's go with that. All right, so from the leading edge of the worst weather, these are the times of arrival. So Deltona, about 8:30. I've got the southern side of Deltona, 8:28. DeBary is just outside of my polygon, but that's going to be somewhere around 8:26. Osteen area, about 8:24, and you can see the live countdown of, again, the beginning of the area of worst weather, and then up towards Lake Helen, about 8:54. Now, the severe thunderstorm warning doesn't go that long, but hopefully this storm will begin to diminish now that we push past sunset, but you get the idea of kind of where this is headed and the times of arrival based on a forward speed of somewhere around 15 miles an hour. Anytime about 8:25 or beyond for DeBary and Deltona, I'd be concerned and ready for the worst of the weather to be getting into your area. All right, again, right here in Sanford, man, that is hellacious thunderstorm right now. All the purples, all the flashing aqua colors. Let's take a look at the potential hail size out of this. Again, still not getting a lot from the Melbourne radar as far as that goes. We're still going to be closer to the Melbourne radar than the Jacksonville radar, so this is still the best look. Look at our velocity and make sure nothing's gotten squirrely. And again, when I look at velocity, I'm not necessarily having to look at just rotation. We can actually see the winds being produced out of this as well. Now, you notice that the airport has just said there's a 36-mile-an-hour wind, and I promise you that was probably the gust front that came out of the storm. You know how you guys get that cool burst of air and you know that the storm's headed your way? That was probably the gust front there. So I'm just taking a look at a couple of different parameters here with you guys. Will there be any farting? Great question. I have no idea. What does that mean? I mean, farting out of the storms? Farting of myself? Never know. Gate to gate shear. Spectral width. All right. All indications are, again, that the worst part of this cell is right here. So this is actually just slowly moving into Sanford. And if you guys don't know Sanford, it's a populated area of Seminole County. Lake Monroe, Lake Berry, Sanford areas there, 46. Obviously, the I-4 corridor is being impacted by this. The cell that I was worried about over Mount Plymouth is actually moving east. It could actually end up merging with this right over I-4. So we'll see. You know, again, when you're talking about how these storms kind of come together, sometimes these storms can help collapse each other. Sometimes these storms can begin to ramp each other up. I don't like the fact that that we've got a radar trip here of a potential hail signature on the north side of this. So unfortunately, what this means is this thing could kind of come together, become an even larger storm, and impact even more of far eastern lake and into a little bit more of Volusia County. So again, got the street level mapping on. You can clearly see 44 riding up towards the land, and then 92 back down towards Orange City. All of those areas could be fairly impacted by this. Still keeping an eye on the cells to the west. These were the ones that we saw from our Winter Garden camera. Again, over Lake Apopka, and then back towards the Turnpike and 50 towards Oakland, the interchange there. So East Claremont, the Oakland areas, Winter Garden. A little bit of light rain right now over East Lake and western Orange counties. Not much more than that. Follow the 429 down towards Lake Buena Vista. Of course, if you guys know Western Way there, this area is becoming more and more built up and populated all the time, including the Hamlin area. There's a shower there. I'll be watching Lake Buena Vista. Otherwise, again, probably that will be it for initiation off of our west coast, and then we'll see how much this one can hold together. This is very common for this scenario where you get one storm that tends to be, the king, if you will, and it's the one that holds together, and everyone else just kind of dies out around it. This is not an environment that's going to allow multiple high-end storms to continue. Again, nice to see you guys live on this Tuesday. Rusty with you here, CFLW. Of course, got you covered whenever there's impactful weather. It's, again, is a little bit past sunset. We've got our severe thunderstorm warning right now, which is beginning to impact more of the heart of Seminole County, including the Sanford area. Again, if you know anyone who lives in Sanford, I mean, more than likely they already know it. They're in it. But Deltona, DeBerry, Orange City, Lake Helen, give them a heads up. Let them know that there is a severe storm capable of producing hail that would be large enough to cause some damage. And I mention that, of course, because our sponsor of the channel is the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida, and they do help homeowners with hail damage. That is one reason why the Lane Law Firm has partnered with us here at CFLW, because when we're talking about severe weather, they know they can lend a helping hand for those who have been impacted. If that is a part of your life, and we all don't like to think about it, but we all want to make sure we have it properly covered, what it does, you can go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. So again, this is the thunderstorm. I'll continue to watch these areas west, but as we're past sunset now, not expecting those to probably get too rowdy. This is going to be one that's just going to hold together, and the name of the game is how long is that going to stick around. This is the live look to our camera from Winter Garden. Obviously, we are pointed west. If you look east, you're going to end up seeing nothing but dark sky, but obviously with the iris up on this cam, I got yourself a beautiful sunset. And again, we had some rain, a little bit of lightning here right at the beginning of this, just before we came on, and showed you some of that right at the start of the live stream, but it has since cleared out. And so the showers in the western side of Orange County beginning to dissipate at the hour. Lake Conway, again, dark, we're looking east. You can clearly see the difference. On the top left-hand side of your screen is going to be the far southern extent of that severe thunderstorm. We've caught a little bit of lightning from the Conway cam already. There's a little bit more lightning for you right now. Again, just kind of the periphery of that severe thunderstorm as we're looking just far enough north and to the east to catch the tail end of that. Again, it's moving away from this camera. You can see that the breeze has also picked up a little bit at Lake Conway as well, where right at the beginning of this live stream, there was not a breath of wind over the lake. But gorgeous shot there. You can clearly see the lightning on the left-hand side of your screen. And that's going to be another big story. These storms are pretty hot. Thankfully, right? Thankfully, we got ourselves a nice little bit of humidity to come in for the ride. So I'm not as concerned as I was earlier in the week about the opportunity for these lightning strikes, as you see live here on CFLW, to cause any wildfire concerns. I mean, obviously, we've still got the dry weather overall. We've still got the drought conditions. It's still a situation to deal with. But, at this point in time, I don't think it's as big of a concern had we had a little bit more in the way of lower humidity values for today. So you can clearly see this storm over 46. And by the way, too, the new 429 interchange has connected into this area as well. So kind of where 429 on the north side splits off of I-4, you've got 46 to Mount Plymouth. This cell has really intensified. So now, it's raining cats and dogs over I-4, the 429 interchange back east towards 417, Sanford Lake Mary. You can see the live lightning count here. This is the lightning count over just the last 15 minutes. 27 lightning strikes. That heavy rain, that storm is right over the airport, right over southeast and south Sanford at this point in time. And then, of course, the 415 breaks off, bends up towards the Osteen area, which is another section that could be in play. The rain is picking up into Barry and Deltona. Of course, you go over the St. Johns River here, just north of Sanford on I-4, and it's already a bit of a commute there, even at 8 o'clock. I promise you, it's still busy on I-4 here. This is not going to help the situation in any way, shape, or form. Severe thunderstorm warning goes for the next 17 minutes. So on this particular cell, again, it's moving, the area of greatest concern, and this is what my radar system does. It says, look, this is the worst part of this cell. It's moving northeast. Here's where it's going to go. Now, it's not taking into equation, obviously, the entire cell, but I do want you to notice that this should kind of thread the I-4-415 corridor. That being said, the Osteen area could be hit by some of the heaviest rain and the hail potential out of this storm. Again, that criteria right now looks to be up to an inch. I would expect there to be other areas of smaller hail. But again, if you live in these areas and you're experiencing any of this, let me know in the comment section below as well. Boy, Blue Goose, that whole area just floods so bad. It really does. Lake Harney area, even up towards Astor, it's bad. We know how the St. Johns River flood basin goes, and it doesn't take a lot of rain to cause problems. No doubt about it. Absolutely. So this cell right here, let's see where we're going to pick this one up at. So we have a new cell, same one, but now it's getting a little bit more intense. This is the one that I'm actually more concerned about for DeBerry and Deltona. So again, kind of a merging of our severe thunderstorm and this cell, which is getting stronger. You can see the radar algorithm updating live for you guys. That particular one is moving northeast at 22. Basically saying there's going to be hail within it up to a ½ inch in size. So this would be more of, getting to about dime-sized hail, for the most part. This is all going to be coin-based hail for today, right? Your nickels, your pennies, your dimes, quarters are a possibility as well. Okay, and there's the severe thunderstorm warning. All right, same situation here. Has not changed, 8:30, 17, hail size of an inch and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Thought for a second they might have issued a new one there. Go back over to our velocity product here. Again, 36-mile-an-hour wind out of the airport at this point in time. We'll see if they pick up any more. You can certainly see there's some perturbations and different winds. So the situation is this. This is the leading edge of this red of our cell out west. This is the northwest extent of our severe thunderstorm cell. These two will probably come together somewhere around or just west of I-4. And either they will help to collapse each other or they're going to be pulsing themselves up. And, it's always kind of a very localized phenomenon how this plays out. It does look like at this point in time they're still aiding each other, meaning they're feeding into each other. They're allowing each other to get a little bit stronger. You can see the reflectivity has come up. And the other thing that tells me that is the lightning counts coming up a bit as well. Obviously, if you have a dying, decaying storm, you're not going to see this lightning count go up. But, you know, just over the last 15 minutes, the lightning count's gone up a little bit. Speaking of that, I'll put this into motion for you guys if you're just tuning in. Again, jumped on about a half hour ago. And you're welcome, Brenda. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. Jumped on about a half hour ago with this one severe thunderstorm. It's a big boy though, right? Covers a pretty big area, covers a pretty big population. Started in the Oviedo area, Winter Springs, spreading up towards Sanford, Lake Mary. Those areas are still being impacted, and now DeBerry, Deltona, Orange City, Lake Helen could all be into play for this as well. Again, this is the loop over the last half hour, but you see the evolution that it's kind of going a little bit more east to begin with, but now it's certainly more north-northeast than anything else. And if you just look at this cell right here, right, you can clearly see how this one has really started to pick up. Look at these whites now, and it looks like they just issued a special weather statement for it. And you know, this could be special weather statement followed by a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, I'm pointing this one out for a reason, because you can clearly see that the reflectivity is coming up with this. So not good times right now in these areas for sure. Jump back out to the big view. I'm going to reset overall. Just do this. By the way, you guys aware of all the bad weather in the plains and the severe weather outbreak for today and tomorrow? It's bad. If you would like more information on that, look at the bottom of your, when we're done with this, of course, for the Weather Express YouTube channel that I do talk about the U.S. weather. So, as we would expect, here comes our special weather statement, which, if this storm continues its uptick, it could easily become a severe thunderstorm warning as well. So let's check out this special weather statement. It's just going to basically be an extension west of our severe thunderstorm warning. Strong storm impacting northwest Citadel, Central Lake, East Central Lake, and Central Volusia till 8:45. Cluster of strong storms near DeBerry, moving northeast at 15. 50 and pea-sized hail, so more pea-sized hail or more. Tree limbs, unsecured objects being blown away. Heathrow, west of land, Forest Hills, Pine Lakes, Haunton Island. Here's one for you. Haunton Island State Park. Again, lightning, be indoors, don't screw around with it. So there's that one. What do you say we track that? There we go. So based on, again, the area of greatest concern, and only that, we're going to have that part of the cell get to Orange City about 8:45, 8:47, and then on over towards the land at 9:45, or excuse me, 9:05. So basically following, going up 1792 to the land right there, right? Again, they're pretty slow moving storms. That's a problem for the areas that they are impacting at this point in time. This thing has absolutely engulfed Sanford. Sanford is covered up right now. Covered up. Yep, they merged. It's exactly what we talked about. They merged. So this cell came together, and this cell could end up taking over or being strong enough to kick off a severe thunderstorm warning in addition to the one that we already have. But this puppy has also gotten big. It's not moving fast. It's over Lake Mary. It's over Sanford. It's over the airport. It's over Lake Monroe. It's beginning to have more impacts to DeBerry and Deltona. Again, anywhere within this area, friends, you need to take it seriously. We're talking about some inch-sized hail as a possibility. That is quarter-sized hail. That can cause some damage. It can damage vehicles, okay? So just keep that in mind. Obviously, watch out for the heavy rain, the ponding on the roadways. The lightning count's pretty significant right now. We're on 63 lightning strikes in this view in just the last 15 minutes. Again, I have it filtered a little bit, but there's a lot. And in Sanford proper right now, you had 40 lightning strikes here, but 46, 417 connection, 1792 towards the zoo. It's all no bueno. Osteen, you're going to be included in that as well. Now, to reset the big view, if you're just tuning in, this should be the only cluster of storms that is able to hold together here in Central Florida the remainder of the evening. We have a few storms, in Polk County. They're not severe. They're kind of by themselves, but now that we're past sunset, right, these should begin to wane a little bit. Pretty solid lightning strikes down there as well. We had a few showers that tried to develop here. Almost it looks like a touch of an outflow boundary in the the southeast sides of Orange County. But generally speaking, this is the cluster that's going to hold together for the 8 o'clock hour. Now, we've probably seen them pulse up, hopefully, about as high as they're going to, okay? Now that we're past sunset, now that they've merged, they're hopefully going to start to, come down a little bit, at least in a slow fashion. We'll see how quickly or how slowly that evolves, but I hope that we're hitting peak intensity. That's what I'm saying, because, inch-size hail, that's pretty darn good. Last gasp here. I say we get it in while we can. Our cameras. We'll go back to Winter Garden. Again, we've hit sunset. So now that camera has turned black and white on us. Let's try to see what we can see at the top of the screen there. Probably the first star and or planet and or bug. But there's the shot from Winter Garden. Disney area, same situation. There's Lake Conway. Now, this will be an interesting shot. I'm going to keep this on for a half second because you can still see the lightning. Again, look to the top left-hand side of your screen. You'll catch the lightning there as well. Pretty cool shot, though. Again, this storm is pretty far away, but our camera pointed from Lake Conway, looking just a little bit to the north of east, is catching some of those lightning strikes. But you can see that even on the tail end of that storm, well away, and I mean well away from where the heart of that storm is, we're still getting lightning strikes about what, every 5 to 10 seconds? Easily. The lightning count has actually gone up to 76 in 15 minutes in that view. So we've actually added 13 new lightning strikes in about a minute. 60s are no fun, Garrett. They're not going to be widespread 60, but up to 60, and that's going to cause some problems wherever they hit. All right, so that was probably our last look of our cameras for today as we are past sunset. But again, this storm is pretty good. Now, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:30. So we'll see if the Weather Service wants to keep that going. Just make sure that I still have my wind gusts on here. I don't, so let me bring that back up. So again, airport reporting a 36-mile-an-hour wind. If you live in this area, let me know in the comment section below what you're seeing. Again, this is part of the reason why we do this. We love the interaction. Appreciate those who are jumping on the chat and saying hi. If nothing else, I'd really heartfelt appreciation to click that like button right now. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching, click the subscribe button. Again, both of those things help the channel out more than you know. You're feeding the YouTube algorithm, right? They say, okay, people are watching this, they're interacting with it, they enjoy it. Let's recommend it to other people who don't even know that it exists. So there you go. Oh, come on, Garrett. Not Helene. No. This is just a nice little thunderstorm here in old Florida. This is kind of like a preamble of what's to come with our wet season. A 60 mile-an-hour storm and an inch-size hail. Yeah, that's a typical Tuesday night in June. I understand the PTSD from it, though, man. I understand. I've been through it myself. I've been through it in hurricanes. I've been through it in tornadoes, obviously, with what I do. I'm there with you, man. Trust me. I get it. Every situation, though, is completely different, right? The thing about Helene was the massive scale, right? However this is going to impact is going to be in a much more localized fashion, but it only takes one. It doesn't matter, right? I've been the victim of that lone storm that caused damage, and everyone around us was just fine. It just kind of is the nature of the beast. The problem with Helene is just the massive thousands of square miles where it caused utter destruction. And obviously, something we had never seen before. But I understand, but obviously, clearly, this is not, that going to be that scenario. So again, still tracking a couple of areas of concern here. This cell wants to try and push a little bit farther east now. That could be some hail. So, the bottom line is just, as these cells are merging, there might be a little bit more of of a push east with this, but if you see all these flashing colors over the Lake Monroe area and Sanford just in general, like it's not fun. And over the St. John's, right? So, you know, it's been heavy rain and storms for Lake Mary and Sanford for at least the last 45 minutes. DeBerry, Deltona getting in on it as well. Again, good gusty winds. Typical, you'll get that cold air outflow ahead of the storms, and then things will pick up after that. That new special weather statement is in effect for the next 20 minutes, basically 19 minutes, so it's going to take us to 8:45. So again, you know, the first thing we'll see is, does the Weather Service continue the severe thunderstorm warning? And, you know, all signs point to this storm not dropping off intensity much in the last 15 minutes, but we'll see. And then, you know, again, you know, are we at severe thunderstorm criteria even along and west of I-4? You know, it's getting pretty bad right now over those areas, no doubt about it. Let's go over to our enhanced satellite imagery. I'm going to bring this back out to a little bit here. Let's loop that up over the last couple of hours. And you can see the evolution of the storms, right? Everything pushing west to east. You can see the storms here. There was an earlier special weather statement for coastal Flagler County near Palm Coast, but that developed right along I-95 and was well off the coastline. You can see how cool it was in St. Augustine. Blue Goose, you said you got just a little bit of rain? Who else is hurricane? Okay, fair. You know, I don't recommend a hurricane party, especially if you're in the path. Can't do that. Can't recommend that one. But you can clearly see the evolution of these storms. And again, this enhanced satellite imagery, when you see those brighter colors, those are higher cloud tops at this point in time. So let's get back here. They did issue a special weather statement for this one towards Haines City. It only gets as far north as the Champions Gate area across I-4, where there's a new severe special weather statement there. 50 and quarter. So, you know, that storm did pulse up a little bit more even than what I expected. Now, the interesting thing is these are trying to pick up a little bit as well. So right over Conway, where we have our camera in Orlando, we're starting to get some rain. Same thing over Goldenrod. Same thing over Altamont, Castleberry. A little bit of lightning associated with this as well. These things are trying to pulse up a bit, even past sunset. We'll see how it plays out. Sometimes you can just never count these things out. You know, again, the juice, still 81 degrees right now. So the 816 OB was 81 degrees with a dew point of 66. Again, no fire threat here with that. 82, a dew point of 66 down at the International Airport as well. But if you live in Orange County now, along I-4 and east, these are starting to pick up a bit. So we could, you know, maybe we're not done with our cameras. Maybe we got to keep a little bit closer eye. There's Conway right there, right? Ah, looky what I found. Got ourselves a little bit of rain right over Lake Conway right now. I have no lightning in that view at this point in time. So we'll see if it picks up a little bit more. So again, developing shower, intensifying from downtown Orlando to Delaney Park, Edgewood towards Conway. And you can see the rain in the foreground. And then in the background, you can see our severe thunderstorm on the top left-hand side of your screen. That is mainly impacting portions of Seminole and Volusia County right now. So a nice shot there, even past sunset. Appreciate you guys tuning in, by the way, as well. Again, nice little developing shower storm here. We'll see how much this can pulse up even past sunset this evening. All right, back over to the live radar. So there's what's going on with that one for you right now. This is the cell that's picked up a little bit of lightning right now. It's not much, but Castleberry south of Longwood. So what do we got here? Aloma, 434. Got to try and remember all of my roads and what numbers equate to which roads. There's a lightning strike there towards Longwood as well. Basically right up 1792 and west. Aloma, 434, 436. All right, so here is a new special weather statement. All right, so this is good news. The severe thunderstorm warning has expired right now as of 8:30. It has been replaced with a extremely large special weather statement. Okay, so now you have two different special weather statements, but ultimately it's the larger one, right? That what we're talking about. Now, this is good news. It means that at this point in time, the storm has dropped below severe criteria, right? We potentially had some inch-sized hail around Sanford and maybe northeast Lake Mary. That was a problem. Half-inch size hail is still not fantastic, and there's still a ton of lightning. The lightning count, despite the fact, I want to be clear about this, despite the fact that the severe thunderstorm warning has been replaced with a special weather statement, the lightning count has actually gotten much higher. We're now up to 113, 114 lightning strikes. We were in the, 70s a few minutes ago from this view in the last 15 minutes. So this storm in the last 5 minutes or so has actually gotten stronger as far as the lightning goes, although it does look like the wind potential and the hail potentials come down a bit. And again, that's the only criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. You have to have 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-size hail. The lightning count, the heavy rainfall, anything else is not a criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. Hail is caused by the updrafts of thunderstorms and where the freezing layer is in the atmosphere. So the updrafts of storms are strong enough sometimes to take your water vapor and to bring it high enough into the freezing layer to turn it into ice crystals. It has to accrete on something, a dust particle. I've seen hail where once it melts, there's a bug. You know, the ice has to start accreting on some object. And then the updrafts are strong enough that, you know, these ice crystals that start to form, they're so light, they stay in that updraft and they continue to spin above the freezing level, and they begin to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And ultimately, only when they can overcome the updraft gravity-wise and drop because they're heavy enough, do they actually hit the surface. The most intense storms with the strongest updrafts can support larger hail, which is why, you know, when we have the extremely intense storms here in Central Florida, we can get 1 to 2 inch size hail. And then out in the plains, they can get 2, 3, 4 inch size hail. My car, when I lived in Oklahoma City, was totaled twice by baseball to softball size hail. I'm talking about like goodbye car. Like they actually did not total the car, but I didn't have my car for 3 months because they had to replace every panel and every window. But yep, so it's updrafts getting into the freezing level. Now, here in Florida, the freezing level is pretty high in the atmosphere because we're pretty darn warm. Let me ask you guys a question. Here's a great question. Where do you think the hail capitals of the United States are located? And I have seen the green sky. I have seen that emerald sky. But here's a great question. Where do you think, on average, the largest hail falls in the U.S.? I'll let you guys answer. Someone else jump in too. I don't want to just hear from Garrett and Blue Goose. Someone else think about that. And I'll tell you why in a second. So again, now we're up to 122 lightning strikes. Let me get rid of these special weather statements for just 1 second. And let's just do a nice little storm track at about 20 miles an hour. And again, now we have ourselves one massive line. $18 is good enough. All right. So friends, if this can hold together and kind of pushing in that north to northeast fashion, here are some of the areas that could be impacted. All right. Orange City, it's coming your way in about 5 minutes. Lake Helen, 847. DeLand, 858. Glencoe, 907. We'll see if it can get to the coast of Volusia County. I mean, that's a big if, and, or but in Candy Nuts right now because it's 8:34 and we're past sunset and it's, you know, the first day of April. It's not late August where we're going to have much more juice in the atmosphere overall, right? Although we did hit 90 today. 908 New Smyrna, 924 Ponce Inlet, Port Orange in at 9:33. Again, we can track this for you second by second. Orange City, about 8:39. Again, time to impact, about 4 minutes and 10 seconds. For Lake Helen, again, as we mentioned, 8:46, 8:47, time to impact, 11 and a half minutes. So you live in these areas, you got a little bit of time. The land, 8:57. Time to impact, 21 minutes and 52 seconds. And again, eventually, if this tries to hold together towards New Smyrna, past 9 o'clock in about 31 minutes. The internet says South Dakota. Ferris says Nebraska. Blue Goose is throwing out a few. Missouri, Oklahoma City. There's a couple of, so first of all, where I saw the emerald green sky was in Missouri. I worked for a little over a year in Columbia, Jeff City, Missouri, and actually on my interview, I saw the brightest emerald sky with the potentially largest hail. I think, it never fell exactly where I was, but it was unbelievable to see the emerald sky. However, the answer, and it's not Oklahoma, the answer is actually the flat areas of Colorado and Wyoming. And the reason why that they get, on average, the largest hail size is because of their elevation, okay? Oklahoma City is flatter and lower, but Colorado and Wyoming are higher, which means the freezing level is closer to them, right? In the atmosphere. So their freezing level is closer, which means it doesn't take as long for the storms to start producing hail, right? And they get strong storms there with a lot of wind. Those low precip thunderstorms have a heck of a lot of updraft, which is why you have those tornadoes that you see out there, but you also have the large hail size. But because of their elevation, it is the plains area of Wyoming and Colorado that get, on average, the largest hail. South Dakota could probably be included in that as well in some of the flatter areas, but I just know that Wyoming and Colorado, you want to talk about the areas that get 4 to 5 inch size hail from time to time. There you go. Unbelievable monster hail. Okay, now, please, I want to pronounce your name correctly. Please phonetically pronounce it for me, or if anyone knows. Simão? Here in Portugal, it is rare to have thunderstorms, but when there is, it is too strong. Well, first of all, Portugal in the house? I don't know how you found me, brother, but thank you for tuning in. And again, if you wouldn't mind, just give me kind of a phonetic pronunciation of your name, so if you pop in a second time, I know how to say it. But come on, Portugal, I love it. Now again, I speak some Italian. Io parlo italiano por 10 anni, but Portuguese, no. And am I fluent in Italian? No. I'm pretty good. I wish I was better. Certainly for the amount of time I've studied, I should be better. So don't be trying to get me in the comment section as well. But this storm now is beginning to move until Deltona and DeBerry, guys. And again, I-4 corridor is just locked up right now. So St. Johns River, DeBerry, Deltona, the lightning count actually continues to climb. We're now up to 127 strikes in the last 15 minutes. 126 is still about the same. Let's take a look at the velocity. Again, you can see the temperature has dropped back down to 73-degree rain-cooled air now. 30-mile-an-hour gust, their high was 36. So the airport in Sanford never got the most stout part of that storm. They had winds of 36. That's not bad. We can handle that, right? I don't see any extremely strong wind out of this right now. Main concern might actually be if we have hail out of this. Again, still not picking up a lot from this hail product from the Melbourne radar, but it is just an estimate. No severe hail, that's for sure. Nothing too bad on our dual pole products. It's just a good storm. Real good storm. Now, I'm glad I don't see those flashing blues. So when we get into the, well, there's a little one right over I-4, so I want to eat my words here, but when we start to see the pulsating reflectivity in the fuchsia colors, which is the purples, the aquas, and then the white. Those are like kind of the three highest reflectivity categories on the radar, right? Fuchsia's bad enough, blues not fantastic. You get to the whites and you got some trouble. But blues and whites are no good. But again, at least at this point in time, these are just special weather statements. The latest one will go until 9 o'clock. Now, this storm over this area has, held together, but it hasn't produced a lot of lightning. The rain has spread all the way to UCF now. Goldenrod and Union Park, Baldwin Park, Delaney Park. There's some rain over Conway. So, and look, it's even intensifying a bit over Delaney Park right now. Nice, intense rain in that area. Again, one lightning strike. That's it. So we're not really talking about much in the way of a thunderstorm. This is our Conway cam. You can see the rain in the foreground. Wet my whistle a little bit there. See if we catch any lightning there from that storm still. Yep, still got the lightning. It's a nice little light show out there in the Metro Orlando area, all the way from downtown up towards northern Civil County right now. Probably from the East Coast, you can clearly see this. You can also see that there's a little bit of lightning more directly to the east. So you've got the lightning with this storm, but it's also elongating east. So we're going to start to see that in the horizon. That looked a little bit closer. I'll have to see if we picked up a lightning strike near Conway. That was interesting. Nice little flash. But that's all that is. It's a good light show out there right now. Got a plane that doesn't mind it. Not heavy rain in Conway, and they are just on the south side of where that intense rain might be. So you could pick up a little bit there in the next 15 minutes or so. But obviously the lightning in the background is pretty stellar at this point in time. All right, so non-severe rain and a few lightning strikes in Orange County. And again, this is spread very quickly over towards UCF and University Park. It's even worked its way back up the 417 towards Oviedo in Civil County. 417 pretty wet as you get back down towards Union Park. Then you get closer to downtown off of Colonial, north towards our friends in Baldwin Park and Azalea Park. Heaviest rain just south of downtown, beautiful area, Delaney Park. A lot of really, really nice homes there if you know that area, Edgewood. There's Conway, where our one camera is. Trying to get a little bit of rain to develop around Lake Buena Vista, but a lot of that is east. We'll see how this storm plays out. This is our special weather statement. It does go until 9 o'clock as well. A bit of lightning with that one, about 40 lightning strikes within this view in the last 15 minutes. Some rain is sneaking up I-4 towards Celebration, so it's going to get closer to World Drive, 535, the 417 interchange there in the southwest side of Orange County, Champions Gate. I mentioned that Four Corners area as well. Looking pretty good everywhere else. Again, these storms aren't going to redevelop out west, but the question is just how long can they hold out here? Now, as I've mentioned, our Conway cam, if I can put this in perspective, our Conway cam right about here is looking in this general direction. So we're actually starting to pick up a little bit of the lightning that's beginning to build east from these storms, a little bit more direct view of this. But Deltona right now is getting hammered. Deltona, 1792, I-4, State Road 400, which is I-4. They label roads like 5 different names. It's crazy. But this has spread over towards Osteen on the 415, up towards Osteen. Again, still picking up a hail probability out of this. Now, the one special weather statement is about ready to expire, but that doesn't really mean anything because they've already covered up that whole area with the additional special weather statement that goes for the next 15 minutes. Beginning to get better in Sanford, no doubt about it. Certainly has improved in Lake Mary. Non-severe showers and storms trying to sneak back into Winter Springs and Oviedo, areas that have already gotten hit pretty hard, but that's just going to be some moderate rain if anything else. Some of that lighter activity extends back towards the 441 area and our friends in Apopka, just east of the 429. Again, that's a nice intense batch of rain, but when I zoom in here, In the last 15 minutes, we've had one lone lightning strike. And that's it. And quite honestly, I can't even pick it up. It'd be like, where's Waldo? A little bit more rain over 192 now. Kissimmee. Far northern sides of Osceola County, trying to sneak into the southern sides of Orange. You can see we're getting that back feed now that the radar has hit sunset. That a green on the map at the lower elevations here. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have a quick moment, thank you for liking this live stream. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends. If you're so inclined, you want to support the channel in other ways, you can find ways to do so in the comment section of this video below. And I do want to take a quick second and thank those of you who have found ways to support myself at the channel via those ways, PayPal and Venmo. Thank you for those. Appreciate that as we continue to grow the channel. So again, this special weather statement is in effect for the next 13 minutes, 50-mile-an-hour winds, half-inch size hail. Let's get the update from the National Weather Service. Again, going to go through 9 o'clock, moving up north at about 20, 50 and half-inch size hail. Again, you know, notice that with this one, with the half-inch size hail, they're not talking about hail damage to vehicles. It's still not going to be fun. I wouldn't want half-inch size hail to be dropping on me, but I get the fact that half-inch size hail typically isn't going to cause any big problems. Now, stick with me here. Who wants to go 3D? I haven't broken this out a lot because a lot of times this can be kind of just for show, right? And I'm not a just for show kind of guy. I like the meat and the potatoes. But when and if it's necessary, you know, we'll get into some 3D stuff here, okay? And you know, this product is actually getting better and better as well. I got a lot of lightning on here that we're trying to cut through. So, you know, if I drop that off, you'll see it a little bit better. But we'll have the opportunity here to do some 3D looks at these storms, and I can exaggerate things. And I'm still actually getting a little bit used to it as well, right? But just to give you guys an idea of what it can do. That if we need to go 3D mode and take a look at it in that way, we can. Now, hopefully once I reset everything, everything will go back to normal. But there are some applications to use that in not just a flashy way, right? Like, you know, there's something to talk to you guys about. Some of that could be like when we're looking at the sea breeze storms coming together, we might be able to look at the vertical heights to see which one might actually take over the other storm, because if they're going to butt heads, might want to know which one is going to be the dominant storm out of that. Or also if storms are pulsing up, we can take a look at the vertical development of the storm and see which one, again, might be the next one to go severe, you know, based on that. But it's just something, another tool in the tool belt, as they say, right? And so, you know, I like to have that available to me. You know, it's going to be a neat thing to show you guys, especially when we have multiple storms to deal with. So this is the loop over the last half hour. Again, we had a severe thunderstorm warning with some inch-sized hail right around Sanford, especially on the south and southeast sides of Sanford, east sides of Lake Mary. This is now a special weather statement. It's still a very large special weather statement. Goes for the next 11 minutes in these areas. And again, hopefully we've hit peak intensity with this. You know, the interesting thing is that the lightning count has held pretty well with these storms. You can see additional cells have flared up fairly quickly along and east of I-4 in Orange and the northern sides of Osceola County. Not a lot of lightning associated with that, but some darn heavy rain right now for the downtown Orlando area east towards Baldwin and Union and Azalea Parks and Delaney Park. Literally, you have to live in a park if you live near downtown Orlando. It's like almost a requirement, I think. Let's go out towards the west. I know we got Orla Vista out there, Pine Hills, Orla Vista, Metro West, but it's like this is the park area here. Then you get down towards Edgewood, Conway, Holden Heights is also a beautiful area as well. And then again, some of this rain has spread up north and east towards Oviedo and the 417, and our most stout storm is now trucking into Volusia County. We do have this special weather statement here. Again, in portions of Polk County, some rain has flared up north of that polygon into Celebration and Four Corners. Again, none of this is severe. I wouldn't expect it to, but it's something I'm going to keep a close eye on for you here for at least the next 10 minutes. Again, I'm just going to reset the shot with the big view. Since you guys are watching again, if you know anyone who lives in the plains, it's a really, really bad situation right now. Those are the current watches. But the risk for severe weather today looks like this. The risk for severe weather tomorrow is extremely bad. Large, long track tornadoes are likely in these areas. The red is that 4 out of 5 from the SPC. That's for tomorrow, right? Luckily, we're not included in any of this, even into Thursday. And the other big thing too is the western sides of Tennessee, the Tennessee Valley in general, how about 12 to 14 inches of rain or even higher? It's going to flood there, and it's not going to be fun. So they're going to get high-end tornado threat, 70-plus mile-an-hour winds, 2-inch-plus size hail. And oh, by the way, these storms won't move, and the flood threat will be very significant through some of those areas. So we got the next 8 minutes with this special weather statement. The biggest thing as we head towards 9 o'clock, I'm just keeping an eye out to make sure that these storms aren't doing anything squirrely. The lightning count is beginning to drop a little bit here as expected. We hope that the peak intensity has occurred. We'll go back over to our Conway cam. Check in with that one real fast. Again, you can see a couple of drops of rain in the foreground, still a fair amount of lightning in the background, and not a breath of wind. It really is unbelievable. You know, we've had some gustier winds from time to time, but if you're not around those thunderstorms, there's not a lot of wind. That's one reason why these storms are meandering along at this point in time, and they haven't really had a lot of forward speed associated with them the remainder of the late afternoon and into these early evening hours. But again, just a few sprinkles there at the hour. Let's see here. There I am. All right. Let's do another storm track on this because this has made the East Coast now. So let's bring back up our manual track. Slide this over here. This time I'm going to give myself a little bit bigger breath here, right? Let's find out our forward speed first of all. 21. And the Weather Service went with what? 20? Is that right? Yeah. All right. So we'll do that. We'll go with 20. I'm going to take off the box because it'll just be a little bit easier to see. Let us draw our track, friends. Right over Orange City right now, and it's made its way all the way towards Oak Hill. Let's go north at 20. And there you go. So again, we'll see if this holds together. But if it does, some of the areas that could be impacted, as I've mentioned, Lake Helen in a couple of minutes. It's already in Orange City. DeLand 908, Glencoe 914, New Smyrna 914, Ponce Inlet 929, Orange City 936, South Daytona Beach, the Daytona Beach area between about 942 and 950. But again, I would not expect this storm to be as intense if it were to hold together in any way, shape, or form as it moved towards Daytona. The idea is just to show you how this could be playing out at a 20-mile-an-hour forward speed. So again, 950 Daytona in about 55 minutes. Daytona Beach shores there. Doesn't mean we're not going to get some rain and lightning out of this, but it shouldn't be as intense. Port Orange at about 9:35. Ponce Inlet here about 9:27, again in about 32 minutes. Our friends in New Smyrna, 9:13. In the shorter term, this just continues to march up 1792 and I-4 So here's our friends in Lake Helen. In the next couple of minutes, the leading edge is coming your way. The land, about 908-ish. You know, and again, street level, south side of the land, more like 904, right? Central side of the land, 908, but the south side, 903 to 904. So there you go. And we still have that. They have not issued another one. 17-mile-an-hour wind at the airport in downtown. So again, rain, some of it intense, ponding on roadways, 408, Colonial, Cimarron, places like that, right? Towards Dean Road, UCF, Aloma, those areas could have ponding on the roadway because of this heavier rain. You want to slow it down. Does not look like it's going to be severe. Does not look like it's going to produce a lot of lightning. When I zoom in even closer, you're going to see again, we've had just a few lightning strikes in this area in the last 15 minutes. A little bit more than what we had a few minutes ago, but still not a lot. Same situation with this cell here. A lot of the lightning is actually lagging behind back towards Haines City. You notice on the north side of this polygon, it's a lot less intense as far as lightning goes, although the rain is heavy. From Champions Gate towards Celebration, this is where, by the way, the 429 dumps off, and it's always a bloody mess there by the Champions Gate exit, if you guys know that one. And so the rain's not going to help that out. Showers continue for the Campbell, Kissimmee areas in a fairly light fashion. But now this rain, again, has crept over towards the 417 in Orange County, so UCF, Alafaya areas, Union Park, Azalea Park being impacted by those. Even though the lightning count is coming down with our special weather statement up here, I'm still very impressed, right? And you can see that this lightning has picked up over I-95 too. You know, it's a fair amount. Up to 12 lightning strikes here. This is all south of Edgewater, which got hammered a few days ago, if you guys remember that area. We were tracking that for you. And then all the lightning here over Deltona. Now it does look like I've got one part of the storm cell here, but we've lost any of the hail signature. Well, that one is outside of the special weather statement. Within the special weather statement, I'm not picking up any hail signatures any longer. Let's look at our, this is going to let me know where the worst storms are, so just bear with me here. That one's towards Haines City. Huh, that's interesting. It's trying to pick up this cell, getting a little bit stronger over Conway. How about that? There's the third one, and then back down here. These are all the ones that have a probability of any hail whatsoever. So that's just, it's an easy way for me to roll through the most intense cells, just having the computer say, hey, show me what you think is the most intense. But it's a cool thing too. All right, so we're coming up on 9 o'clock, guys, and we're going to keep an eye out and see if they reissue anything or not. If they stay special weather statements, I think we're going to be just fine. But I wanted to make sure we ran these out. Now, again, for anyone who's watching east of Orlando downtown, it's a decent cell. There's a little bit more lightning now than there was. You can see that lightning strike right there over Conway in Baldwin Park. So it's intense. There's no doubt about it. But hopefully we won't even plug a special weather statement there. But it's a possibility. Celebration towards Four Corners as well. So we'll let these count down and see if the Weather Service is going to do anything else. And again, my system generally picks this up well ahead of the websites or anything else. So those have gone at this point in time. But again, in this view, over 200 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. Obviously, you got the cluster down here in Polk County for Haines City towards Lake Wales. You've got this cell trying to pulse up just like a little bit over Conway. You can see the rain has certainly intensified. So the rain has picked up over Conway. There's your lightning. Pretty good show right now, no doubt about it. Again, this camera, Lake Conway, just southeast of downtown Orlando, where that thunderstorm has actually getting a little bit stronger now. Again, the lightning's pulsed up just a little bit with it. Some gusty winds, nothing outrageous, at least at this point in time. Wouldn't expect it to, being 9 o'clock. Okay. Friends, I believe the severe weather threat has expired for tonight. Again, there will still be areas of intense rain and a lot of lightning. All right? Volusia County, moving north, developing showers and a few storms in portions of Orange County, kind of drifting east. They're not moving quickly, so keep that in mind. Heavier storms over Haines City, Polk County, trying to move up to the north. But again, at this point in time, no special weather statements, no severe thunderstorm warnings. So we're going to wrap up this live stream. As always, CFLW, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. Guess what? You get a storm that comes in and you get some hail damage. They can help you out, guys. Hurricane damage. You're in a car accident. You got a burst pipe in your house. So you got to go through the insurance claim process. They'll walk you through every step. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. If you would like to support a business that supports us here at CFLW, you want more information, go to leanonmelaw.com. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so apparently the weather blob that won't quit. Having a Cafe Bustelo. Gotcha, Blue Goose. Well, Blue Goose, you enjoy your 9 o'clock Cafe Bustelo. My wife loves Cafe Bustelo as well, by the way. Don't stay up too late. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. Obviously, if any bad weather occurs here, I'll be back on. But again, this should stay non-severe. Otherwise, again, if I don't see you between now and then, I'll see you for Friday for CFLW, the show at 1 o'clock. If you guys don't know, I do Monday and Friday live shows at 1 o'clock where we talk about the weather and we set things up and get you guys prepared for the week ahead as to some of the storms that we could see. And of course, this is a live-only channel, so I'm only live, and whenever there's impactful weather across Central Florida, I'll be live to cover it for you all. Thank you for tuning in so much as we leave. Thank you for liking the live stream. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. You guys have a great rest of your Monday, and again, or so Tuesday. And again, if nothing else, I'll see you guys Friday at 1 o'clock. Take care.